Okay, so this is the Turf Mile, and you can see this is a pretty large field of potential candidates. There are some that are double entered, whether it be the turf, filly and mare turf, or the mile, and they're noted by asterisks. We've already talked about in Italian and Spiral and Collina, and Up to the Mark may go to the turf. We just don't know for sure yet. But this is a really nice field. Songline, too, I might add, may go in the filly and mare turf. This is a really deep field, and this has always been one of my favorite races, and I think this is no exception. This is going to be a really good race, however the field shakes out. But let's take a look at them. The first group we're going to take a look at ran in the Coolmore Turf Mile. Up to the Mark leading the way. Just a phenomenal win off of had been off for quite some time, and it came back and just had a monster effort. Great connections, Todd Pletcher, Rapoli Stables, Jose Ortiz. This one, I think, is, should he go into the turf, would be the American's best chance to win that race. But if they put him in the mile, I think he's got a very good chance as well. He's a top performer. Ever since they moved him to grass, he's been outstanding. And then we have Master of the Seas, and won the Woodbine Mile, and got a really good second in the Coolmore Turf Mile, losing a head bob to Up to the Mark. And obviously this one's for real. He's thrown two solid efforts in the States in a row. And a little different pattern for Charlie Appleby. Normally he gives him one start. If you remember modern games, he ran him in the Woodbine Mile and then right to the Breeders' Cup. But this time he's got two, and this one looks like the real deal, is moving in the right direction. Definitely one we'll have to consider. And then Annapolis, Todd Pletcher, another one, and I thought he was turning the corner at Saratoga. When I thought he was going to beat Casa Creed in the 4-star Dave, and I think tactically he had everything to his liking, and he still couldn't do it. And I think that's kind of the indication I get of Annapolis. He's just a cut below or a hair below the best Grade 1 company. He's still an excellent horse. There's no question about it. But I do wonder about his chances going into this deep a field. So let's take a look at the Coolmore Turf Mile. So here's the Coolmore Turf Mile, and for reference, Master of the Seas is in post number 1, Up to the Mark is in post number 5, and as you can see right there, Annapolis is in post number 9. And this was a pretty good field. You had some good contenders here.
And they're off in the Coolmore Turf Mile. There goes a tone from
Annapolis
the outside.
pretty keen to get up the lead. Master of the Seas going to lay back, and Up to the Mark's going to stay right with him.
Annapolis moves out in the center of the course. Here's Annapolis.
See, Master of the Seas kind of on the small side.
Challenge from the inside into the first turn. Stitched.
And you get these bigger fields, that does make a difference.
Fourth, and a gap of 2. Harlan Estate, a lane off the rail 5th. English Bee back to the inside 6th. Up to the Mark is side by side with Master of the Seas near the back of the pack. 7 lengths off the lead early on, to the gap of 2 more lengths.
Tactically, you can shut him off right there if they stay right with it. If he tries to tip out, meaning Master of the Seas.
For the opening quarter, Indestructible is the leader, 3/4 of a length. Annapolis second on the outside by the same margin, and then comes Stitched in third, 3/4 of a length, followed by a Tone, English Bee, Harlan Estate, Master of the Seas, Up to the Mark next to last.
Indestructible would be a little more formidable in this race, but didn't turn out that way.
Onto the far
Token pace presence only.
Drawing alongside of Indestructible, a Tone seeks to join
reasonable
them,
fractions
toward the center of the course from third position. Stitched is up close, looking toward the inside in fourth.
You see, Master of the Seas a little more forwardly placed at this point than Up to the Mark, and
now seeking to change lanes.
Both of them are going to have some traffic issues. Got to work out a trip. But you see, Up to the Mark, he's got plenty of horse. So does Master of the Seas.
Master of the Seas alongside Annapolis.
Look at Up to the Mark once he kicks it in. Look at that acceleration.
Master of the Seas, Up to the Mark is there. Master of the Seas, head-bobbing photo.
Awesome
Either
race.
Master of the Seas or Up to the Mark. One of those two in the Coolmore Turf Mile, 134.18.
Next, we're going to look at Casa Creed, the venerable, adorable veteran horse. He's just become a fan favorite at Saratoga in particular. Won the 4-star Dave last out when honestly I didn't think he could, and he really showed me a lot by still tactically. I think Annapolis had the edge on him, and he was still able to get up. So he showed an awful lot, showed that he can still compete. He would have his hands full in this race to be sure, but you got to root for him. Bill Mott on Breeders' Cup Day, never underestimate. And Luis Saez is really riding as good as anybody right now. So at a price, this is one you definitely want to think about, probably more so for under. But let's have a look at the 4-star Dave. So here's the 4-star Dave, and Annapolis is in this race too, so we get a little more evaluation from him. And I thought tactically this was the race that he could win. He could beat Casa Creed. You see Annapolis is in number 4 position, and then Casa Creed in the 6th. And Casa Creed a little more forwardly placed than usual. And I think that really made the difference in this race. And you see Annapolis saving all the ground on the hedge. And when they take the rails off and they leave it just to the hedge, early speed really does have a pretty good advantage. My Sea Cottage really never expected to have any chance in this race. Kind of a couple cuts below Annapolis or Casa Creed. You see the betting public kind of thought Annapolis had a little bit of an edge too in this one.
In front of full screen. It's a strung out field. Chocolat at the back, 23-1.
And Casa Creed's just going to hang right off his rump there.
My Sea Cottage still there. Annapolis tugging on the outside of So High. He takes up the chase. Casa Creed 4th.
See, right here, he's got the edge. I mean, tactically, he's in better position. Casa Creed's got to go get him. And so you had to believe Annapolis had this race.
Annapolis is cut loose on the outside of My Sea Cottage. My Sea Cottage. Annapolis right to him and right on by. Casa Creed still has 3 to make up.
Casa Creed, though,
starts to pick up some nice momentum now. It's Annapolis, and here's Casa Creed on the outside. These two square off once again. Casa Creed or Annapolis. Annapolis, Casa Creed. Casa Creed. Casa Creed, what a racehorse he is.
And, there was a nice win for Casa Creed, but I think it was more of a disappointment of Annapolis to me. But you can see he's a hell of a horse. Next ones we're going to take a look at are a couple of our California local horses, Du Jour and Exalted. And Du Jour, here's a real anomaly, a Bob Baffert horse on turf. You don't see him too often, but this one has acquitted himself pretty well this year and got a win in the Del Mar Mile. And, we'll have home advantage, but I'm not sure he's up to the caliber of the Europeans or our very best Americans. And Exalted is one that his Peter Yurton has done a nice job with and got a Grade 1 win earlier in the year and has been a pretty good performer, but it's hard to believe that he's going to move forward enough to factor heavily in the turf mile. We'll see what the field looks like, but we can evaluate these by watching the Del Mar Mile, so let's do that. So here's the Del Mar Mile. And you can see
feel for the Del Mar Mile sent on their way.
Way they
Sumter
go.
Got a flyer and Sumter goes straight to the lead. Visitant comes through in the center and Exalted settles between those two.
And so you got Exalted as number 4.
I'm a gambler in the red. They've been followed by Balnikov. De Jour is at the rail, 5 lengths off the lead.
De Jour right at the rail.
But not flying.
Just going to shadow draft on Exalted.
Races second last and Count Again trails 11 off them. Onto the backstretch they go, and Sumter, a long shot, leads them by a length and a half.
Sumter's always good on the lead, and he can pull off an upset on occasion.
I'm a gambler in the red. Then we have War at Sea, been followed by De Jour at the rail. Balnikov alongside of that. They 7 lengths off the leaders. Another 3 lengths back comes Twist. Count Again in the red on the inside. Iridio last, 11 off them. No change in the order. Half
Video,
mile
the
left
deep
to go,
closer.
and Sumter takes them along 3/4 of the length.
Never
to
quite
the
seems to
time.
get there, though.
I'm a gambler in the
So
red.
right here,
Exalted
Exalted's
just
looking
waiting
pretty
his
good,
turn down
and
at the rail.
Du Jour
Then
just
comes
drafting
Du
right
Jour,
off him.
Balnikov alongside of that. War at Sea on
Gonna
the
have to
far
work out a
side.
trip,
In
but
behind
either
that,
one of them.
Count again, and then
But
comes
Exalted's
Twist.
looking good.
They come to the top of the lane, and Sumter is the one to catch, but they closing in now.
Exalted's a big one,
Alongside
too.
Visit Time to I'm a
He can't get
Gambler.
free.
On the outside, Radio coming with a big
And
run
he's just,
too.
he's
And
really
Du Jour
covered it.
running
He
on
just
the
can't get
twist
free, and
straight
he's going to try to
wide,
get
wide
on the
open.
rail,
Du
but
Jour.
in the
Du Jour
meantime,
strikes the front and starts
Du
to
Jour
draw
just
clear.
got the
What
trip.
a performance from
And
Du
away
Jour,
he went.
dominating. About a
So you can look at this
five-way
one, and
photo
I'd
here
probably
for
think
second. Might have gone to
Exalted
Du Jour, and alongside
was
of
the
that,
better
Visit
horse
Time,
in
but very close
some
for
regards
second
because he
through
had the
fifth.
traffic issues, but to expect either one of these to compete with the better Europeans, I don't know. So now we're going to look at our Canadian imports. Cheryl Spite, who we remember ran a huge race in the Breeders' Cup last year at Keeneland, was a little unexpected. Roger Adfield, a Hall of Fame trainer, he has been known to ship him down to the States and have him fire well. So this is one maybe to keep an eye on. He's a hard knocker, and given last year's performance, I don't think we want to underestimate him. Then we have Lucky Score. Be honest, I don't know a whole lot about this one. He is trained by Mark Cassie, who we know very well, and got a third in the Woodbine Mile. So we're going to take a look at that one, and of course we get to take a look at Master of the Seas again as well. So now we'll look at the Woodbine Mile, and for reference, Master of the Seas is on the rail in the 1 hole. Cheryl Spite is in the 3 hole, and out to the outside, Lucky, his name's escaping me right now, sorry.
Locked up.
Lucky Score, sorry.
Off they run in the
He's in
Riga
the pink.
Woodbine Mile. Best into stride, Ice Chocolat. Away nicely, Shell Spite, and on the inside against the hedges, War Bomber. Driving now, My Sea Cottage
Shell
to hit the
Spite,
front deeper on the track.
got a
Lucky Score
hard
going
hold
up to
of, look at
fourth, and on
that.
the inside early on.
You see right by Master of the
is
Seas,
the
and
trailer.
Lucky
Racing
Score
clear,
staying
My
back
Sea
as
Cottage
well,
away from the
but,
inside by a length and a half to War Bomber to
a little
second.
surprising
Ice
that they
Chocolat
would
third, quarter bit
take
wide, Lucky
Cheryl
Score.
Spite back
Shell
like
Spite
that
tracks
when
second last on
had
the
good
inside.
position,
And at the back,
especially with
Master of
Master
the
of the
Seas, a
Seas
length and a
hanging
half
in the
away
back.
last. About 6 lengths covers the field.
There's
5
My
and a
Sea
half to run,
Cottage
and showing
again.
the way My Sea Cottage away from the inside now. War Bomber, and is keeping really nice tabs on this leader. About 2.5
Nice
away is
Chocolat.
Lucky
That
Score
one never
alongside
seems to
Ice
get there,
Chocolat.
and it just
Shell
can't really
Spite
get
snuck
that
up
one
the
in gear.
inside and away from the rail for the first time. Master of the Seas inching
Pretty
forward
reasonable
as
fractions.
they reach the half mile, and showing the way still is on the inside My Sea Cottage. The outer is War Bomber with about a long neck. They're 3 in
Master
front.
Seas tipped out,
Lucky
so he's
Score's
in
gone
good
to a
position.
clear third. Ice Chocolat
Cheryl
backing out
Spite,
of it. Running
keen.
on now, Master of the
Little-
Seas, and
almost
last
ranked.
is Shell Spite. They went the half
Really
47 and 1
working
as they
hard to
come to
keep
the
him
home
back.
stretch
I
of the
don't know
Rico
why at this
Woodbine Mile,
point,
and here
but
coming
anyway.
is War Bomber to
You
join
see,
My
Lucky
Sea
Score's
Cottage,
got
and
the
Lucky
edge,
Score on the
position-wise,
outside. Master of the Seas
he's
trying
got
to gather
enough,
them
but here
in.
comes
William
Master
Buick
of the
down the
Seas.
outside, and Shell Spite, and now Ice Chocolat is rallying. Master
Spite
of the
let
Seas
loose
goes up.
plenty of
Shell
good kick.
Spite deeper on the track. It is Master of the Seas exploding clear, and Master of the Seas racing away with the Rico Woodbine
just
Mile.
have to
A
wonder
most
if they
impressive
kept Cheryl
display.
Spite a little more
It's
forwardly
Master of the
placed,
Seas,
it
a dominant win.
would have had the,
Scores by almost
tactically
4
an
lengths to
edge,
Shell
but,
Spite.
there
Lucky
they are,
Score
1, 2,
third.
3.
5 away War Bomber,
And,
then Ice Chocolat.
Master of the Seas
And along
is a
last,
player.
My
There's
Sea
no doubt
Cottage.
about
They
it.
ran 1:33.79.
So we're going to look at our Japanese imports as well. And Songline we've already talked about, as I believe she is dual entered in the filly and mare turf as well as the mile. This one's got a monster late kick, and you see $6 million in earnings. So this is definitely a player should she draw in to this race. And then Win Carnelian is got a 5th in the Manichi Okan, and you'll see it was a really big field. This one's got $1.8 million in earnings, so no slouch either. So let's take a look at the Manichi Okan again and see what we have. Okay, so this is the Manichi Okan, and Songline is number 10, and you recall from the affiliate mare turf, he's got the, she has the black and yellow striped sleeves, and I believe has like an orange type of cap, and Win Carnelian is number 7, and he's a little harder to spot, but as they pan across, you'll probably be able to see him better.
入ってゲート入り完了です。スタートしました。ポンとこうダッシュ 7番ウィンカーネリアン、まずは出ていきます。
I
リー
see
ド
Win
1馬身半、
Carnelian right
2馬
up to
身取って
the
2コーナー
right
の
up
カ
to
ー
the
ブ。
front there.
2番手は5番バビットになって、3番手は2番のエイアン。
Pretty brisk.
第2コーナーを回って向こう上面です。その後ろに6番エルトン・バローズ、並んで9番バラジ、外から上がっていく
This is Songline's number 10
11番
right
フェーン
there.
グロッテンです。そして10番ソングラインは中段、あとは直後に3番ノースターワールド、並んでいく
So
12
it
番デュ
looks
ガ
like Win
ン、さらには11番
Carnelian's
シュネ
pretty
ルマイスタ
keen
ーは
to
後方、
just try to
3
take
馬
them
身
all
離
the
れ
way.
て4番アドマイヤハダル、最後方2馬身差、8番ジャスティンカフェ、後方待機です。向こう上面の中ほど、先頭7番のウィンカーネリアン、リードは2馬身ほど、単独2番手5番バビットになって3コーナーのカーブです。残り 1000m 上がっていった11番フェーングロッテン、3番手から2番手を向かってさあ前3頭半馬身間隔、3-4コーナー中間、4番手は2番エイアンです。最初の 1000m 59秒5の通過、その後ろ6番エルトン・バローズ、上がっていった12番デュガです。さあ4コー
Made a
ナー
note
カ
in
ー
the
ブに向
British
かっ
Cup
て
that every time this one has stepped
10
up
番
in
ソングライ
class,
ン
it
は中段、
hasn't really
そ
worked
して
out
1番シュネルマ
terribly
イスター
well.
は後方から3
So,
投目、4コーナーを回って直線に向いています。
we'll see what that means, but
先頭は
you see
7
he's
番のウ
gonna
ィンカーネリアン、リード
try
は
to
体
take
半
them
分
all
キ
the
ー
way,
プ、2番手は5
but
番
here
バビ
comes the
ット、
cavalry.
その後ろから接近するのは2番エイアン、12番デュガ、
Songline's gotta work
さあ
out a
10番
trip,
ソン
get
グ
a
ラインは
hold.
どうか、馬群の中、その
There
後
it
ろ
is,
1番シュネ
right
ルマイスター
there.
は遅れている。さあ先頭粘っている7番ウィンカーネリアン、
Watch this
並んで
kick.
6番エルトン・バローズ、200を切って今度は先頭に変わった。後方から4番アドマイヤ・ハダル、あとは10番ソングライン、ようやく追い込んでくる。先頭6番エルトン・バローズ、 4番アドマイヤ・ハダル、間から10番ソングライン、シュネルマイスター、広がった、激戦だ、4頭広がってゴールイン。
Now we have More Than Looks, and it's trained by Cherie DeVoe, who's really having a breakout year. And this is a nice 3-year-old that showed some nice progression earlier in the year. We're going to take a look at the Jefferson Cup, where he was a pretty heavy-duty favorite. This would be a tall order, I think, as a 3-year-old stepping up into this type of class level, but we can evaluate from the Jefferson Cup, so let's take a look at it. So this is the Jefferson Cup, and More Than Looks, as you can see, is a heavy-duty 3-2 favorite, is in the 7 hole. This was at Churchill Downs, obviously.
They're in the gates, and they're off. And Midnight West bounced out on top.
Broke okay, gonna take to the back.
Slight Dancer with some speed, Smoky Mandate and Ocean Vision up close as well as they move for the clubhouse turn. Midnight West down inside with a narrow lead. Gaslight Dancer spun out 3 wide. Smoky Mandate pulls back off them to settle into
Get to
third.
right at the
Ocean
back.
Vision from outside post over toward the rail to track the pace from 4th. 3 lengths back. Noises off is now 5th. Tiverton's in 6th. Worthington's in 7th. More Than Looks is second to last early and already 10 lengths off Gaslight Dancer. And the trailer is Ocean Point. They move down the
Gonna
back
have some
stretch
work cut
running.
out, but
Gaslight
doesn't
Dancer
appear too
strikes the
concerned
lead to
about
2.5.
it.
After an opening quarter in 23-3, it's Gaslight Dancer down the back stretch run. And Smoky Mandate
Gaslight
is
Dancer,
stalking
normally
in
a
second
sprinter,
with
stretching
Midnight West
out.
on inside third. Gaslight
Set
Dancer
reasonable
still a clear
fractions.
leader, heading for the far turn. And it's 3 more lengths back to Ocean Vision in 4th. Another 3 to Noises off 5th. Tiverton's in 6th. Worthington's in 7th. More Than Looks is still 10, maybe now 12 behind.
They have a lot of work
As
to
they
do,
come
but
to
doesn't
the top of the
appear to be
stretch
worried
where
about it.
Gaslight Dancer rolls off the turn in front by 4. Smoky Mandate set down for the
Now they
drive
kick it
now.
into gear.
And quickly closing in is Smoky Mandate. Gaslight Dancer trying to ward off Smoky Mandate, who's rallied to the front.
And look at that,
In the
nice
meantime,
acceleration
More Than
there.
Looks like a rocket down the center of the course is coming after Smoky
All
Mandate,
over
and
but
More
the
Than
shouting.
Looked hopeless with 3
Goodbye.
furlongs to go, and it's on the wire, winning by 3. More Than Looks.
Nice
What a
win, but
sensational late
going to
kick
have
that
to step
was.
it up pretty big
Smoky
to
Mandate
factor
was
against
second,
the mile
but it was
field.
either Worthington, Ocean Point, or Noise.
Astronomer is a horse running out on the West Coast, and has had a fair amount of success. And you do get Antonio Frisu aboard, who we like out in California, nice rider. His last effort was in the City Hope Mile, so let's take a look at that. So this is the City Hope Mile, and Astronomer is in the Michael Tabor Silks in post position number 5.
They're in the gate.
Hong Kong Harry was the 4. He was the big favorite in this race.
And they're off in the City of Hope Mile.
You see, pretty
Nice
well.
beginning for hit the road.
Up near the leaders.
War at Sea is up to take the early lead. Il Bellator has speed. And Astronomer is quicker than all of them. And Astronomer is able to clear off and open up a couple of lengths. War at Sea now second. Il Bellator racing
Right
in
up on
third.
the engine.
They are followed at the rail by
And that's
Hong
important to
Kong
know
Harry.
because the turf mile is a race that a lot of times early speed will dominate it. So the front runners we want to pay particular attention to.
Captain Peak seems a little bit eager, under a tight hold, and Irideo at the back of the field. They're onto the backstretch, and it's Antonio Fresu, an Astronomer, carving out the fractions a length and a half. War at Sea in second, Il Bellator inside of him. Hong Kong Harry.
Il Bellator was a horse I liked in this one. You see Hong Kong Harry drafting right along the rail.
Twist inches up in the green silks, 5 lengths.
Astronomer wearing cheek pieces, which you don't see too often in the States. A lot of Charlie Appleby's runners wear them.
War at Sea is now called on, fully extended. Hong Kong Harry cruising up to them third.
Here's Pricked. He's got some horse. Let's see if he's good enough.
Hong Kong Harry tips out to try and get Astronomer, who's still strong on the front end. Astronomer, Hong Kong Harry is bearing down in second.
He's got some good kick, but Hong Kong Harry's going to reel him in.
Hong Kong Harry takes the lead under a hand ride close to home, and Hong Kong Harry fires fresh to win the City of Hope Isle. Astronomer ran a big race in second. Behind them, it was a battle between Twist and Hit the Road, along with Captain P.
Now let's look at Maj. We did look at the QE2 Challenge Cup previously, but we'll just review real quick. This one's owned by Godolphin, and Ocean Murphy has had some nice success when he's come over to the States this year. Saeed bin Saror, I haven't seen too many of his coming over from Godolphin because Charlie Appleby is normally the one bringing him in, but Saeed used to be very prominent on the Breeders' Cup Trail as well as in the States when they shipped him over. So this one has had a pretty good record so far, 8 out of 9 in the money, and had only been running around in straightaways and hadn't gone out to a two-turn race, but was clearly up to the task. So let's look back at the QE2 Challenge Cup and see what happened there. Okay, so this is the Queen Elizabeth II Challenge Cup, and for reference, Maj is in the 4-hole.
And they're off in the
So he hopped a little bit at the break, not too much, but
there's Maj in the opening strides.
Off pretty well.
Papilio to her outside. Elusive Princess, Mission of Joy right there down.
Elusive Princess, the ground was soft, so we really thought Elusive Princess, this would be her kind of race.
Mission of Joy moves up.
See Maj right to the lead.
Princess will go third. Freitas the Red is fourth, wide into that first turn.
And that's pretty confident handling, so you got to believe that they knew they had the best horse in the race.
Position. And then Sounds of Heaven is down toward the inside, moves up one spot from fifth. And further back, Lindy is in seventh. Liguria is eighth, outward from the rail, and that leaves room for a Luca Queen.
I'd really like to see Lindy in the mile, but
6 seconds the time for the opening quarter. Up the backstretch,
she
is the leader over against the rail.
She may end up a spoiler. I really like the way this one ran in this race. Lindy, that is. You see Maj right on, sitting chilly, right on the lead. Reasonable fractions. Nothing too quick.
Lindy, Freitas the Red, Alunda Queen, and Liguria. The first half mile, 47.72 seconds. On to the final.
And starting to quicken now, and you can see Maj still plenty of horse.
Elusive Princess is there in second.
Running open rein.
Close third toward the inside. Papilio is fourth, 3 lengths off the lead toward the outside. They turn for home, a quarter mile to go in the Queen Elizabeth II Challenge Cup presented by Dixiana. And here's Elusive Princess coming after Maj, and Mission of Joy tries to find room between that pair. Maj has the lead. Mission of Joy second, Elusive Princess
Maj just
third.
holding them
Lindy
all
is up
off.
to
Lindy
third
with a
and
nice
leading
kick
late.
late.
Maj still the leader. Mission of Joy, then Lindy.
It's a little
Maj,
disappointing from
Lindy
Elusive
running on.
Princess. They should
Maj,
everything her way in this
Lindy
race
tries.
and
Here's the wire.
couldn't get the
Maj
job done.
takes it.
But Maj
And
looks pretty good.
Oisin Murphy and Godolphin.
2 turns, not an issue.
The official winner of Keeneland's featured ninth race, 40th running of the Queen Elizabeth II Challenge Cup, Grade 1, presented by Dixiana, number 4, Maj.
Kinross is one we saw last year in the Breeders' Cup Mile, and the question was that whether or not he could get the 2 turns in the mile, and he acquitted himself pretty well. This is a very classy horse, and trained by Ralph Beckett, and you got, of course, Frankie Dettori in the irons, and good news for all of us that he's going to be back in California this winter and has decided not to retire. The Champion Sprint Stakes was a really nice race, and granted, it's not the mile distance, but I do think it gives an idea of what kind of form Kinross is in, so let's have a look at it. So this is the Champion Sprint Stakes, and Kinross is in the purple and yellow with the white sleeves with blue stripes.
They're off for this Kipco British Champion
I believe that's him right in the middle there.
Swinging on, certain speed down the centre, tracked by Magical Sunset, Run to Freedom. And also Handy is behind these. Kinross is in about the midfield, just chasing the leading bunch. With Run to Freedom just
so you got a big runaway leader here. Kind of unusual. But this is a straightaway.
Sense of Duty, then Spycatcher on the extreme.
You see Kinross covered up there. He's got the white cap with the blue star on the top of it. He's going to have to find a hole. And I doubt they're going to let him go easily.
Running a solo on the far side, right down the near side on the right is Swing Along in the centre.
Here they go.
Kinross is being asked 1 or 2 questions now.
Now he's got an opening, so he can get through.
And then running on the far side is Millstream and Rohan making.
He's got some horse.
Running down to the final furlong, Swing Along on the near side. Kinross is now responding in the centre. His stamina coming into play. He gets to R Power on the near side, Swing Along, and then Spycatcher and Kinross finishing off really well.
Now you see resurging by Art Power there, and I'd say that's not a terribly good sign coming into the Breeders' Cup, because you're supposed to be able to finish horses if you're in good form. Just my thought. Next one we'll look at is Caldan, and this one had quite a bit of publicity early in the year prior to the Royal Ascot meet. This is a 3-year-old, and Frankie Dettori in the irons, so of course, if he has multiple horses shipping over that he's ridden, we'll have to see which one he chooses. But owned by Juddmonte International, the firmer ground at Ascot didn't seem to be favorable to him, not optimum, let's say, because that was the case at Royal Ascot. So we did get a bit of a preview of how he might handle firmer ground. Paddington got the better of him that day, and it's the thought was that Caldan probably wants a little more cut in the ground. Now, he's run a couple of races since. You can see the Prix Jean Prat and the QE2 stakes, and didn't fare terribly well in either of them. But we're going to take a look at the St. James's Palace, because that was on firmer ground at Royal Ascot, and I think you'll see what I mean about probably preferring a little softer turf. So let's have a look at it. So this is the St. James's Palace, and again, this is back in June at the Royal Ascot meet.
Thank you, Alex.
And Caldan is in the Juddmonte Silks, and you can see him right on the rail there, number 1. And for note reference, Paddington is to the outside, and the Michael Tabor Silks, the blue and orange. And obviously this was a pretty good field.
James McDonald just looking across to try and tuck in. Mostopshire, Cicero's Gift, Charon.
Mostopshire, we're going to talk about him in the turf.
As Caldan, the 2,000 guineas winner, leads the way. The violet jacket Indestructible on the outside of Isaac Shelby.
Indestructible. We saw him earlier in the QE2 Challenge Cup. Didn't do quite as well as I thought he might. On the Coolmore Turf Mile, I'm sorry. You see Caldan out to the lead.
To the unbeaten Cicero's Gift on the inner of Mostopshire.
He's going to try to take him all the way, and maybe that was the strategy, given the fact he probably wasn't going to like the ground. Who knows?
Caldan and Frankie Dettori leading 2. Indestructible.
See how they come around the turn.
Galler on the inside of Isaac Shelby. Paddington the outside. Then Cicero's Gift.
This was a really good field of milers.
Charon the Grey is 1 from last, and Royal Scotsman is last of all as they turn for home inside the 3 in the St. James's Palace. And now Caldan, woken up by Frankie, asked to try and stretch. Indestructible the outside. Paddington, the blue and orange, is now being asked to deliver a challenge, but Caldan giving generously inside the 2. A seen off Indestructible.
So a pretty gallant effort if he didn't like the surface, I'd say, but it also probably is a good indicator why he didn't win.
And Paddington takes the lead and goes away. Caldan in second. Sharon is running on in third, but Paddington quite decisively has gone 2.5 lengths clear of Caldan.
See, he ran a pretty good race, but if he didn't like the ground, that may explain it, the second place, why he couldn't draw off.
Paddington the winner, second home Caldan, Charin ran on, and then Isaac Shelby in fourth.
Now we'll take a look at Luca, who's a Chilean import, possibly. And obviously, I don't know a whole lot about this horse, but I was able to find a replay of his last race. It's the Fata Bella Breeders' Cup, and you'll see the silks here are black cap with red and white stripes, and it's a big field, so it's that'll give us an idea of where he is. So let's see it. So here's the Fata Bella Breeders' Cup, and you can see right off the bat, Luca is right there in the red and white stripes, the red and white hoops, I should say, with the black cap. And this is a big field, so those of you who speak Spanish, I hope you enjoy the race call. And you see it's kind of a Kentucky Downs-shaped track up on the top right there. It's more of a pear-shaped. You see Luca right towards the back, and it looks like it's a right-handed turn.
Segundo Gamberetti, tercero Mi Elegido, cuarta Netina, quinta Tres Cuerpos, Mamá Lili, sexto Mugello, séptimo a Pescuezos Habitar por fuera, octavo a 2 Luca, noveno Aucar, décima Costa del Norte a medio cuerpo, último lugar para All Nikes y Seven Snake, curva a los 1300 metros, muy donoso cuerpo y medio, segundo Gamberetti, tercero a igual distancia Mi Elegido, cuarta Netina, Tres Cuerpos, quinta a 2 Mamá Lili, sexta ubicación Mugello, séptimo Savitar, octavo Luca, Tres Cuerpos, noveno Aucar.
Note they ran this in May, so he's been off for a while.
Tercero Mi Elegido, un cuerpo, cuarta Netina, cuerpo y medio. Quinta Mamá Lili, séptimo Mugello, séptimo Savitar, octavo Luca, noveno Aucar, décima Costa del Norte, penúltimo Nikes, último Seven Snake, 800 metros. Comienzan a girar la curva final. Muy donoso mantiene la delantera, segundo Gamberetti a Pescuezo. Tercero a cabeza por fuera Netina, cuarto Mi Elegido. Quinta Mamá Lili, sexta por los palos Mugello, ya están en tierra derecha. Tres casi iguales, muy donoso. Por el centro, Gamberetti por fuera, Netina.
Coming right up on the rail, saving a lot of ground. See if he can get free.
Noveno, por los palos, Luca, abierta Netina a corta distancia. 300 metros.
There he goes.
Netina por fuera en la delantera. Segundo, Mi
Got
Elegido.
some kick if we can get there.
Cuarto, Suicó Mugello. Quinto, Luca por el centro. Cuarto con Mamá Lili. 200 metros finales. Mi Elegido en la delantera. Comienza a cortar distancia.
Got a hustle, it's got a chance.
Últimos 100 metros. Sigue cortando distancia. Luca, Mi Elegido le ventaja. Luca alcanzando.
Just like he just got it.
Luca sobre Mi Elegido. Tercera Mamá Lili. Cuarta. Tardíamente Costa del Norte. Quinto muy donoso. Sexto Mugello. Séptimo
Looked a little slow just from the eye, but comparatively to some of the other races, but looks a little one pace to me. But judge for yourself. Now we'll talk about Master of Foxhounds, the venerable California turf veteran. This one's been around a while and trained by Phil D'Amato, who's the king of California turf. He's pretty versatile. He can go short or long, and so this would be a bit of a cutback for him, I think. The last race he ran in was the John Henry Turf, so let's take a look at that. So this is the John Henry Turf, and Master of Foxhounds is in the turquoise with black checkers on the sleeves. You see there he is, number one on the rail. And as he likes to do, he's usually up towards the lead.
Master of Foxhound showing his usual early foot. So these two will be 1-2 as they cross over the dirt, and that was not fun for Balladeer, who was bearing very wide, but straightens up now and opens up a few.
Balladeer not going to let him get away with the lead.
This time in third. Planetario in the orange colors. Here's the gray Cash Equity moving up now to claim the fourth spot. Another length and a half to an unhurried Gold Phoenix through the early stages, who's a length and a half in front of Speaking
Gold Phoenix, I think we'll likely see in the turf. He's another very versatile runner.
Balladeer. And Balladeer opens up early. He's got a 5-length advantage. Master of Foxhounds couldn't ask for a better spot in second.
47 and 1. It's 47 and 2.
It's another 3 back to Cash Equity and Planetario right together. 2 more to Gold Phoenix, Speaking Scout, and Awfully Nutty. Onto the backstretch, and it's Balladeer, still clear by 4
Looks like Balladeer's running pretty easily there. Might be tough to catch.
Maldonado just took a peek back to see, yes, this time 2 behind him. Another 3 or so back to Cash Equity, outside of Planetario. Then Speaking Scout and Gold Phoenix. awfully naughty, trying to inch up outside of that pair.
Speaking Scout thought would have a big year, and really he's been kind of stuck in a holding pattern. See, Master Foxhound's stepping it up, going to try to get him.
Now Gold Phoenix is called on as Master of Foxhounds comes to Balladeer.
See, Balladier's got plenty of horse left.
Digging in. Master of Foxhounds still a length back second. 4 more to yes this time. Speaking Scout angles out in Planetario. A 16th to go. Balladeer tenaciously fending off Master of Foxhounds.
Just can't get him. Foxhound's fully extended, just not enough.
To win the John Henry Turf Championship.
Well, that was at 1.25 miles, so a little shorter. Maybe improves the chances on the front end, but I don't know. It's going to be a lot tougher challenge. Now we'll take a look at Gear Jockey, and this one's a bit of a surprise to me. Prior to the Turf Sprint Stakes at Kentucky Downs, this one's form was nothing to write home about at all. To me, this one appears to just be a horse for the course for Kentucky Downs because really didn't show any indication that he could be competitive in the Breeders' Cup, let alone at the mile. He may go in the Turf Sprint instead, but we're going to go back and take a look at that race as a frame of reference. So here's the Kentucky Downs Turf Sprint, and Gear Jockey's in the Calumet colors in the 9-hole there, right in the middle. And we always have to remember Kentucky Downs, very unique track, pretty much starts this race on a wide sweeping turn, and then the stretch goes on forever. So, and because of its uniqueness, I'm not sure how we can compare it to Santa Anita, or if we can make a favorable comparison for that matter. See, Gear Jockey's got good position here, broke well. And like I say, if you look back at his PPs, he really didn't have much form going into this race, and just have to believe that he really likes Kentucky Downs. He's a horse for the course.
Noble Reflection trails to a 21.77 opening quarter mile. They're coming to the top of the stretch. Bad Beat Bryant and Gear Jockey turn for home together. These are the two with a quarter of a mile to run. Bad Beat Bryant on the inside, the leader. Gear Jockey up alongside.
One timer I really liked in this race, but lost the photo. Bad Beat. And it wasn't Bad Beat Bryant.
Gear Jockey now a slight lead. Bad Beat Bryant fights on inside.
See, he's keeping on after a pretty quick opening fraction.
Olympic runner 2. Here's the wire. Oh, it's close.
Just made it. Spare the suspense. He won in the photo.
Either of these two could have won it, and it's a log jam right behind them too.
Last three we're going to look at, we've seen before as they're dual entered. And first is in Spiral, and this is just a superstar filly. And if she does run in this race, she will be awful hard to beat. The same can be said if she runs in the filly and mare turf. And as you recall, we looked at the Sun Chariot Stakes, and she won against a pretty darn good field of Europeans, drawn off by about 3 lengths. This one, since coming off the layoff at Royal Ascot, has really been turning heads. And you got John Gosden, who does not bring them over unless they have a really good chance to win in the Breeders' Cup. And you got Frankie Dettori aboard, so all systems are go for Inspiral. And the next is in Italian, and I think they're going to run her in the filly and mare turf. But either way, we know what she wants to do. She's going to get on the front end, and that might be dangerous in the mile if she does decide to run in it. But she seems to have lost a half a step. Her last 2 races, she was caught in the stretch. And the first one you can kind of forgive because it didn't look like they pressed the button too hard with their speed in the top of the stretch. But the last one, really, she should have done a little better. And I think Gino Romantica impressed, but you wanted to see a little more out of In Italian. So we'll just have to see where she runs. But I'm not as confident about her as perhaps last year. And then finally, Kalina, who was the kind of a surprise winner. You got the feeling from the Prix de la Forêt, which has always been a good preview of the for the Turf Mile prep race. And Wertheimer Frere, nice connections, and ran a pretty good race there. So if you can duplicate that form, might be a surprise. So here's what our top prospects look like for the mile. And you'll note right off the bat, I've excluded Up to the Mark because I'm pretty sure that he is going to run in the turf. If he does run in the mile, he could very well be the one to beat. Looked awful good in the Coolmore Turf Mile. Master of the Seas, who just missed out to Up to the Mark, looks like a really solid miler. And he's coming in third off the layoff for Charlie Appleby. And his last two races at the Woodbine Mile and the Coolmore definitely make him a contender here for sure. We'll throw Casa Creed in there. The venerable 7-year-old, he knows how to win, and I don't think he's necessarily a solid win candidate, but I think you have to think about him primarily for under, particularly if we have a lot of early speed signed on for this one. Cheryl Spite, I liked the form in the last race, and this one did very well unexpectedly in the Breeders' Cup last year. And Roger Atfield has a really good track record of bringing them down from Canada. So this one could be a sleeper. Songline is dual entered, but if she decides to run in this race, that monster kick we saw in the Manichi Okan, this one really is a really solid contender, and I'm pretty excited to see her run wherever it might be. But she would definitely be a prime contender in this race. Then Maj answered the question about 2 turns in the QE2 Challenge Cup. And they took her to the lead because she was the best horse, and nobody was able to go get her. And she looks awful promising coming into this race. So if she runs, I think she's one that we have to take seriously. Ken Ross didn't necessarily like the form in the Champion Sprint Stakes. Don't like seeing a horse have the lead and then having one come back on them. So, but this one is battle tested, and I wouldn't want to throw out completely. I think could factor should he run in the mile. And then I'm going to throw Annapolis in. To be honest, I think he's more a candidate for under. I think he's been he is what he is. I mean, he didn't run great in the Breeders' Cup last year, and usually he needs a perfect trip in order to be at his best. And I just don't think he's. I think he's a cut below the upper crust, but you know he's in decent enough form. So if we're going to talk about Casa Creed, I guess we have to talk about Annapolis. Inspiral is the favorite if she runs in this race, and a pretty solid one. She's a really dominating filly, and whichever race she runs in, you absolutely have to take seriously. Then we'll throw More Than Looks in there because this race really doesn't look like it has a whole lot of late speed. And so you'd have a closer who may be isolated, and that's usually a really good place to get them. So More Than Looks, maybe we give a look. Going to be a tall order, but as one lingering at the back by himself, maybe we can upgrade a little bit. 3-year-old going to be a tough task, though. Exalted, I thought, had the better trip than Du Jour did in the last race, and this one has been running well for Peter Yurton. And I think I don't think is necessarily a win candidate here, but as a California horse, I think with the home advantage, we have to take seriously. And like I said, I think she had a trouble trip last time and will run a lot better, especially with Peter Yurton training. And then finally, we'll use Kalina. We really don't know what I'm getting with this one. The last race was seemed to be a surprise, but looks to be in good form. And you know, sometimes these more obscure Europeans or international shippers are the ones that surprise the most. So you're definitely going to get a price with this one, and we'll just have to see where she ends up. So that's the Turf Mile, and you can see there's quite a few candidates. A lot of them are dual entered, so we'll just have to see how the field shakes out. There will be pre-entries, I believe, today, so we will know for sure who's going where, and we'll keep you posted on that. So I think you know it is going to depend on which horses run where, but if the international ones look to me to have a bit of an edge over the Americans, so we'll keep you posted on that, as I mentioned. Hope this helps you with your analysis, of course, and if you do like content like this, please like and subscribe, and we do thank you for coming aboard, and thanks to all of you who have recently jumped in, and thank you for the support. It's going to be a great Breeders' Cup. I'm really looking forward to it. We will have further postings for the rest of the division, so be on the lookout for those. I'll talk to you soon, and until then, be well.